right, let's get this one over with. Alright, welcome to day 9 of 13 for the 13th, and today we're looking at the 9th installment in the Friday the 13th franchise, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, released in 1993, otherwise known as the worst in the series. Before I really get into it, this is just gonna be a heads up, I do not like this movie. So if you're wanting to listen to a positive review for this film, this is not it. Alright, so this movie takes place presumably a few years after Jason takes Manhattan. Jason is back in Crystal Lake, and he stalks a woman who runs outside in a towel and leads Jason into an ambush by the FBI where he is literally blown up. His remains are taken to a corner where his heart is still beating, and the dude eats his heart and Jason's spirit possesses him. So Jason begins making his way back to Crystal Lake and trying to find someone related to him in order to fully take over a body, because he's kind of passing body to body and he can't really stay in one for too long because his evil soul will just cause the body to rot away. Eventually though, he is able to take the body of a relative, and for some reason only a Voorhees can kill him now, even though Tommy Jarvis did it. But he is defeated and taken to hell. And there's one last scene that helps to set up Freddy vs. Jason, where Freddy's arm comes out of the ground and grabs Jason's mask. I know that was probably a very, very basic and not too detailed summary of the movie, but I don't really care about this movie, to be completely honest. So characters in this movie, there's Jason, barely. When we do actually see him in this movie, I'm not the biggest fan of this look. I don't know, like the hair, and then just like he looks puffy. I don't know, he just looks like some weird bloated old guy, I guess. I don't know. Although I gotta say, I actually do like the idea of the mask embedding itself in his skin. I think that's kind of cool. And we don't see it in the movie, but the design that the video game gives his unmasked face for this movie is actually kind of cool too. But just in terms of how we see him regularly, for the most part, I don't really like this look. The only thing that I really like is the concept behind the mask becoming a part of his head. The only other notable character, in my opinion, in this movie is Creighton Duke. He's a bounty hunter. He's pretty great in the movie, has a lot of great scenes, he's acted very well. Overall, he's pretty cool. There's also relatives of Jason, being Diana, her daughter Jessica, and then Stephanie, who is the daughter of Jessica, and this other guy in the movie, Stephen Freeman, who, Stephen's not bad, he's alright. He puts up some good fights in the movie, but I don't know, on the whole, I find a lot of these characters kind of one note, with really the only true standout being Creighton Duke, just because, you know, I really can't say anything about Jason because he's only at the very beginning and the very end. Technically, he's throughout the whole movie, but he just possesses various people. And it's like, yeah, sure, it's quote unquote Jason, but it's not fucking Jason. Alright, let's get to the kills, which is about the only thing this movie has going for it. Hands down, probably the coolest one is the teens in the tent having sex. Chick gets impaled from behind, and let's be honest, that wasn't the first time that happened that night, with a big spike, and then it is brought upwards, kind of like tearing her upper body apart. There is a gnarly one where we see what happens when Jason's soul, heart, whatever you want to say, leaves a body, where the dude just kind of like falls apart and melts. Some pretty cool body horror stuff there. Pretty gory too, but like that really shouldn't be in a Friday the 13th movie. And then for better or worse, Jason's death at the beginning is memorable, with him being blown up with his head like spinning in the air and stuff. Alright, so let's get into sort of the legacy and everything with this movie. And this movie really overdoing it with the supernatural stuff, bringing in lore that has never been a part of the movies before, like Jason having to be killed by a relative when it's like, Tommy Jarvis took him out, no problem. Or apparently how Pamela Voorhees used the Necronomicon from the Evil Dead to bring Jason back to life, which makes Jason a deadite, which... no matter how much the director Adam Marcus wants to say it's canon. And just, you know, I usually don't dislike filmmakers or anything for choices or whatnot, but like, I don't like Adam Marcus. Just listening to him talk, to me, he just kind of seems like the Rian Johnson for the Friday the 13th series, of just being kind of a dick, making a bad movie, and then wanting to get mad when people complain about it. Now, you know, this movie does have its fans out there, whether it's due to like the kills, the blood and gore, or just the fact that it is different. And I don't mind things being different. I mean, hell, in this series, I've even said that for the first few movies, they're kind of borderline the same, especially 1 and 2. But I feel like you can make things different, but not feel like you're making something unrelated to the series. And this just feels borderline disrespectful to what's come before. And thank goodness nothing has really referenced this after the fact. Freddy vs. Jason kinda does, simply because it takes place after this and it starts off with, even though you don't see it, Freddy finding Jason in hell. Which is, man, for me, what a shit show. And honestly, I don't think I will ever watch this one again, unless it's a few years down the road just to see if my opinion has changed at all. Because sometimes that happens, but man, this is not a good movie. And spoiler alert for the ranking video, this is, in my opinion, the worst movie in the series, because it borderline doesn't understand the series, doesn't understand Jason as a character, and just changes up the lore out of freaking nowhere. Especially for a movie that tried to advertise itself as The Final Friday. Like, this movie sucks. So yes, that has been Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think about this movie? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you just kind of like it? You know, what do you enjoy about it if you do like it? I'm genuinely curious. You know, I kind of hate being so negative on a movie, but I also like to hear why people like something that I don't, you know, and I don't mind having a good conversation about that. Tomorrow I'll be looking at the next entry in the series, Jason X, possibly the most infamous entry in this series. As always, a big thanks to everyone for watching, and please continue to check out the 13th for the 13th. I'm still really enjoying this series. And as always, have a good one.